We've gone from a loop where we tried to figure out what it meant to be biggest for hockey players, and so we were retrieving the values from the hockey players in order to find out, to a loop where we went through all of the items but asked one hockey player to compare itself to another to determine who was biggest. So we're no longer concerned about the details of how hockey players compare themselves. We just take one hockey player, present it to another hockey player, and say, tell me which one of you is biggest. The trick there was moving this greater than sign when we think about it over top of the compareTo so that it reads as if next one greater than biggest so far. Well, as with the equals method, it turns out that this is such a common idea that there's a library routine that already does the work for us of finding the biggest. So here's an example of the collections library, which is the name of the library, and it's got a function in it called max to find the maximum, and you provide it with a list of things to go search in order to find the maximum. What it gives back to you is the biggest one that it found. How does it determine what's biggest? It has to use whatever the things are on the list to determine what's the biggest. So because this list contains hockey players, what will happen is collections.max will do exactly this loop of taking one hockey player off the list and calling the hockey players compareTo in order to find out whether or not that hockey player is bigger than the biggest so far. Now, collections.max is a little specific because it knows that it needs this compareTo function someplace in the hockey player class. In order to make that happen, not only do we have to write the compareTo inside the hockey player class, which is this thing, but we also have to go back up to the top of the class and announce the fact that it's there. So the announcement is done by saying implements comparable for hockey player. All that does is it says someplace inside this hockey player class there will be a compareTo function that can be used in order to put hockey players in order. Collections.max checks for that, so before it will attempt to call compareTo, it insists that you have marked the class to say that compareTo is available via implements comparable. A couple of other routines that are useful in the collections library. There's collections.min to find the smallest one. There's collections.sort to put them in order from smallest to lowest, and sort actually rearranges the list into a different order. And another useful function is that the standard ordering when we put things on, when we do collections.sort, normally puts things from smallest to largest. In the case of hockey players, we want the list to go from largest to smallest. There's collections.reverse that will reverse the list. These functions are only available if you do the correct import statement, so you have to someplace in your code at the top say import Java util collections, which makes that library available for use.